Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video and gameplay. Today I'm bringing you Giddy Teemo. This is a Teemo Vi deck and we're also including Targon cards. It is a pretty unique deck and I haven't seen anything like this yet and it works out pretty well. I really like using Teemo and Vi together in general because Teemo's mushrooms really help Vi level up fast and they synergize pretty well together. She also acts as a challenger that can potentially grab elusive units and protect Teemo a little bit better. So in general, I really like Teemo and Vi as a matchup. We aren't using any of the Targon champions today. They don't really work super well together, and so we're not including them. Tark can kind of work with Teemo, but you have to use a lot of these support units, and with Teemo, you're almost forced to use his followers, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that in this deck today. So with Teemo and with Targon, what we are doing is including, instead of the support, we're using the Invoke cards. I guess we are also including 2 Mentor of the Stones, which can work with buffing up Teemo and making him even stronger, but in general, we're using Invoke cards. So Invoke cards are an interesting, I guess, addition to Legends of Runeterra because what Invoke does, it is going to produce Celestial cards. I can pull those up really quick here. And Celestial cards are cool in general because you can pick and choose which cards are going to suit your deck best. So when you invoke, you get kind of a random choice of 3 cards, right? And so you do have to pick between the 3 cards, but you can pick the best card for the situation that you're in, and you can pick cards based on what deck you're running. And so we can use this to our advantage. So for example, if there's a lot of elusives on the board and Teemo, you really need a Teemo hit, you just pick Crescent Strike, stun the elusive units that could potentially block Teemo, and you're good to go. And if you're running, for example, a Overwhelm deck, you can use the Charger to get even more damage, and it doesn't really cost a lot. Yeah, there's just a lot of playmaking ability with these Celestial cards, and you can pick the ones that suit your needs. Another important card that we can draw in this deck is Written in the Stars. So we are running a complete set of, if I can get back to my cards here, we're running a complete set of Solari Priestess, and Solari Priestess will pull Celestial cards 4, 5, and 6. And Written in the Stars is pretty important because it allows us to draw our champion, and it reduces its cost by 1. So Teemo is all of a sudden 0 cost, and Vi will also be reduced, but it's also granting them +2/+2. So we're granting more survivability for Teemo and for Vi if they're pulled. Vi just becomes a beast, super hard to kill if she's tough and 6 health, and Teemo also is pretty hard to kill if he's a 3/3. All of a sudden they have to expend a lot more mana to get rid of him, and he's just dealing a ton of damage each turn, getting more puff caps in and that sort of thing. Alright, and then yeah, in general, the 4, 5, and 6 cards are pretty good. We can also pull Golden Sister for more elusive and lifesteal sustain. The Warrior has Challenger. There's just a lot of good options in this with this Solari Priestess when you invoke. Alright, so some other cards that we're running in this deck are the standard Teemo cards. So we've got Chump of Wumps, we have the Chump Wump, and we've got the Puff Cap Peddler. So we use a whole bunch of spells, get lots of puff caps into our opponent's deck, and are able to win the game that way. And these kind of chump blockers in the Chump Wump and with Chump of Wumps are good as well, just to fill up our board and chump block, and they also produce the mushrooms. Alright, so we're also running in this deck a full set of Behold the Infinite, Spacey Sketcher, and like I said before, the Solari Priestess for the Invoke, because we're running another addition in this deck that we haven't seen too often, the Giddy Sparkleologist. Play, if you behold a Celestial card, grant an ally +1/+1 and Spell Shield. And so this is super good for things like Vi and Teemo, and even occasionally the Puff Cap Peddler, your kind of power engine of puff caps. You can use this to buff up your Teemo, you can use it to buff up your Vi, and make it super hard for the enemy to get rid of them. The extra Spell Shield goes a long way with these cards because they turn into your win conditions, and if the opponent can't deal with them, yeah, you end up just winning the game. Super good card to actually include in this deck, and it is we use it in the, I guess, gameplay today, and we get some really good value out of the Giddy Sparkleologist. Alright, so to finish off this deck, we're also running Suit Up. This is just more power up for Teemo and for other cards in case we need to get rid of bulkier units, and we've got 2 Blessing of Targon. Yeah, just granting more stats to Teemo, allowing him to hit the Nexus even harder, and then finish up the game. One more thing that we need to talk about in this deck is the potential of Vi in general against the kind of current meta. I know there are a lot of people running Aurelion Sol Mana Ramp decks with Trundle, and we do go against it today. Vi is a huge counter to Aurelion Sol. She's a potential 10 power champion at turn 5. And Aurelion Sol isn't going to be coming out until turn 10. They cannot deal with Vi. Vi leveled up, and Vi in general at 10 power will counter Aurelion Sol, who's got 10 health. She's got Challenger, and so they can't put him down. They cannot put Aurelion Sol down on their defending turn, or Vi will take him out. And where we've got these kind of spell shield options as well, spells can't deal with her. And so in general, she's just going to be able to counter Aurelion Sol. I don't think a lot of people are realizing that right now. Vi is such a good counter, and they cannot deal with her. They don't want to put Aurelion Sol down, and that is basically their main win condition. So she does an excellent job at slowing down the enemy, and also making them not want to put down their most powerful cards. So she is super important right now, and I think that she is kind of underrated at the moment. So this is a super fun deck. I would definitely recommend it. Yeah. Just Teemo in general is kind of a fun champion to work around just because he's so like trolly and can really irritate the enemy. Yeah, you should definitely try this out. It was super fun. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks. Alright, so we're going against a mana ramp deck here. Going to be using our Teemo, seeing if we can get some good value in with mushrooms. Alright, so I would really like to start with Teemo. I'm going to actually get rid of all of these. And there we go. Okay, he shouldn't have a way to deal with it until turn 3, where he has a possible avalanche. Alright, so we're going to play him. 2, 3, 4. In the round here, I want to get my Spacey Sketcher as well. That would be nice because I've got Flame Chompers. Alright, so he's already kind of doing a little bit different of a build here than what we're used to seeing. So if he open attacks, I'm not going to block. Can't really, so we're going to play down our Puffcap Peddler.
Heard about you. Sunlight guide you, my brethren.
This is a little different of a deck than that we're used to, because he is using more Invoke rather than he's using more Invoke abilities rather than Mana Ramp, so that's interesting. We're going to get the Serpent here and probably kill one of these guys. So yeah, we can play the Serpent down. He's out of avalanche range if he is using that. So we're going to pull this guy.
You'll never know what hit him.
We are going to attack with Teemo. You know what I'm actually going to do first? I am actually going to play my Giddy Sparkleologist. Because I've got the Serpent down. Before he dies, I want to get the use out of this Giddy Sparkleologist. That would be kind of bad if I didn't. And now we're going to kill off the Serpent and attack with Teemo here. Alright, and we're running a little bit low on cards, so we do need to be a little bit careful that we don't run completely out of cards. Since he's running kind of the Daybreak package, I don't know that he's necessarily going to have things like Catalyst of Aeons. He did have this Star Shaping though, which is kind of annoying. But this kind of limits what he can do now, so I'm actually just, well, I'll put down my chump wump here. Fill up my hand a little bit with these mushrooms, and it will allow me to level up Teemo before I attack. So let's actually, what we got here? Vi is at 8. So I'm actually going to play both of my mushrooms.
I love the smell of mushrooms in the morning.
I've always been a fun guy.
Alright, both of the mushrooms. Now, when Vi comes out, then she's going to be leveled up. So I'm just going to pass it back to him. I want him to use some mana. There's a chance that he has Ice Quake, right? So if he uses Ice Quake, I can put Vi out afterwards. And then I'll have a pretty good attack with Teemo and Vi, because Teemo's got the spell shield.
Our mountain bros are full of dangers, but I know them all.
Alright, so just like that, do I... Yeah, let's put Vi down.
Vi stands for vicious.
I don't think he's going to be able to deal with this.
I'll scout ahead.
I don't need a plan. Eat this!
We're going to attack like this.
You cannot sway me.
Okay, so he silences. That's okay, he only gets one use out of his silence and my guy still lives. We also take out some of his health here, so that's fine. We get 48 puff caps into his deck, which is also really good.
I'll protect
And he didn't manage to use the Hush on the Teemo, also really good, so we were able to protect him. He saw Vi as the bigger threat, which I don't think that's actually right.
Trolls are going to war!
Yeah, so let's put down our chump of wumps here.
Down in the sun.
So we get another mushroom cloud, we can get even more mushrooms in. We've got complete spells here. Let's invoke this round. The Golden Sisters is actually a pretty good card, but I think I'm going to go with Crescent Strike. This is going to let me slow them down and potentially save my units. Alright, I'm going to pass it back to him and see if he attacks. He can't do much. If he doesn't have a way to deal with Vi, he's not going to attack with Trundle, because I will trade into the Trundle. Alright, so there's potential for more Hushes. So what I'm going to do here actually is just do an open attack. I don't think he can punish me on an open attack here.
Runaway bike!
Freeze!
I'm going to pull in the Trundle. I do have a little bit of reaction here. I can use Blessing of Targon if he's got more Hushes.
Another path, another problem.
Which is nice, so we'll see if he's got Hushes. And he just lets me attack. So I trade the Vi. I don't get to use my spells. I was kind of counting on him having spells that he could use I was counting on him having spells and things to deal with my units, so I just did a ton of damage to him. And now he's got 112 puff caps in. He'll get some 3 damage or 3 health here, so we're gonna see if we're gonna be able to kind of survive here. Bastion's good as well. And he still should be out of Aurelian soul range. I'm not going to use my Crescent Strike yet. He's more than likely got other units here that he can play down. Still not going to go for it. Okay, so I mean, I'm not too worried about these cards here. Now he uses Catalyst of Aeons. I'm going to use Blessing of Targon twice on Teemo just to avoid this damage. He's going to resurrect, but I'm just trying to preserve as much as I can here. I don't want to give him 6 free damage. So there we go, that's fine. Okay, he pulls 3 here. Now what I want to do is replace one of my cards with Minter of the Stones. All I need to do is play the waiting game. Okay, so he's got Revitalizing Roar. We're gonna see what this card is. It's Aurelian Soul. That's not very good for us. He gets 15 extra health here. So I'm going to pass it. Well, actually I can just stun these units here. He's probably not going to have another elusive unit in his hand. He's going to be forced to play Aurelian Soul here. Okay, so he stuns me, but I've got Spell Shield.
Swiftly. Look out!
Going to go with this first,
Run away, bike!
then like this.
Follow me, Sparkly. Whoa, pretty.
We're going to pull this guy here, get some extra damage with the Teemo.
Adventure starts with mushrooms.
And there we go, we actually won the game there. We kind of outvalued him with our units early game, and we're able to actually maintain a healthy hand state. It's easy to kind of run out of cards, but we never really did. Yeah, you also got to see the Sparkleologist there too, which was pretty cool. We got to buff up our Teemo and our other units and make it hard for them to deal with. Just this extra spell shield on Teemo is actually really great. Had Bashed in there as well that we could have used in case he had another spell, so yeah, there was a lot of ways for us to react there. I actually really enjoyed that deck. It was pretty fun. Kind of a problem when you play Teemo decks is that you're forced to play a lot of his followers. So you've got the Puffcap Peddler, the Chump of Wumps, you know, the Chump Wump. Anyway, you're running a lot of his followers just so you can get value out of the mushrooms and Puffcaps. So the good thing about using Invoke with Teemo is that you can get more units and more spells that aren't normally available to you. And so you can kind of include these Invoke units and then use spells and things. You can get spells which synergize really well with the Puffcap Peddler, but you also are granting yourself more units and more ways to play with Teemo. So that's pretty cool. Really enjoyed that. And then Aurelian and Trundle can be pretty oppressive, and Vi actually worked really well as a counter to Trundle. He couldn't do anything with the Trundle, he got no value out of it, basically. And if he had had Aurelian Soul down as well with when I had Vi out, he wouldn't have been able to deal with that either. So Vi is actually a pretty good counter to Aurelian Soul Trundle decks, I think. So yeah, you should definitely try this out. Yeah, pretty fun deck, and it actually worked out pretty well.